On this segment, we have a VTI transmission that we're gonna check. Because locally, we know people would always say, kailangan mo ng PH12 transmission para close gear. So we will count this. Would it be a mythbuster? Let's see. Okay, here we are now. We're gonna write down the main and counter just to get the gear ratios, you know. So gear 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. No sixth gear because this is not a K series. We wipe off the first gear and I use a red marker just to know where the count starts because you know it gets confusing. So we count them off. First gear and second gear are all built in the main and counter shaft. So when you think about it, first and second, you cannot balasa. So watch out for those false claims. And later we will show you guys gear ratios of factory Honda 92 to 95 models and 96 to 2000. Okay, there you go. First gear main is 39. All right, let's count the counter gear. We wipe it again to put the marker. We actually measured this before. That is why you can see me looking for where I put the first marker. This way it doesn't get confusing, you know? Counting it off now. Alright, counter gear is 12. Later on, we're going to divide this to get the gear ratios. Now we're on to the second gear. We put the marker once again and we count them fast. The thing that we said before was that first gear and second gear is built into the main shaft. You can, however, get the extended first gear from M Factory, replacing the counter gear. We got 42. Alright. Now on to wiping the counter gear and counting it. Later in this video, we will show you a comparison between a VTI and a PH12 transmission and its US counterpart. So stick around to the end. Now we mark it again with a marker. And this you cannot interchange between transmissions, by the way. So we speed it up. Alright. And it's 22. Now on to the third gear. Let me look for where the marker was. Oh, there. Just wipe it and put another red marker, just so that we can reference it well. Now let's speed it up a bit so that we count it faster. Okay, it's 35. Now on to the counter gear. Let me find the marker. There. Let's put the red marker again. For reference point, of course. Then we speed it up once again because we don't got the whole day to count this. There you go. And it's 28. You can see my handwriting. Oh, hey, I want money too. Sorry about the background. So now we go to number 4, or gear number 4. We mark it so that we can start counting. Okay, there you go. All right. Okay, we speed things up and so that we can count it really quick. Okay, 30. Now onto the counter shaft. Start counting it. Let's look for the marker first so that we can wipe it. Alright, there. And then the red marker so that we can start counting it again. There you go. Alright, now let's speed it up again. Alright, it's 33. We look for the previous marker on the 5th gear, main gear. Okay. Now we start with marking the starting point with a marker. Then we count it off. Then we speed it up. Alright, there. And it's 26. Now we wipe off the counter gear side and get ready to mark it with the marker. And then off we count. Alright, we speed it up again to be quick. Alright, there. And it's 37. Now we gotta divide these numbers to get the gear ratio. So let's go do it now. The thing is, I've known this gear ratios for years, and props to the late great Bong Hilario, owner of H3 Autoworks, because he helped me with this. We actually counted 3 ESI transmissions, 4 Ph12 transmissions, and 5 VTI transmissions. And guess what? Nagmura na lang siya the whole day. And you will find out later why. And for those that knew him, you know how he cusses. And lastly, but definitely not the least, thank you to Mr. BC Ezerioja, owner of Bisimoto Engineering, because after all this time, he's still the man behind the D series. He taught me a lot, including gear ratios. Now, where were we? Alright, as we wrote down the main gear and the counter gear, you gotta divide the main into the counter just to get the ratio. You divide 39 by 12 and then 42 by 22 and so on and so forth. So get your calculators out. You guys ready? Here it is. First gear is 3.250. Second gear is 1.909. Third gear is 1.250. Fourth gear is 0.909. And fifth is 0.702. Some will react with an OMG, some will be shook because that's exactly a PH12 gear ratio. Look at this. This is the 96 to 2000 Civic EK in the US, known as Civic EX. Notice, the gear ratios are quite identical. Now let's go with the next one. This is the 92 to 95 Civic EX in the US, which is actually our PH12 or ESI. And look, it's exactly the same. So whoever says that VTI gearing is longer or PH12 is shorter geared is full of horse manure in their mouth. However, the LXI transmission is no good. As you can see, its second gear is far from first gear and third gear is really far from fourth gear. The LXI is not good, and you can tell this by the markings near the axle. It's A000. The VTI and PH12 are known as B000, and we will show you how it is. And you can see here it's B000. That means it's a big bearing case. It has big bearings for the differential and the main shaft. The LXI transmission is A000. The funny thing is S20 and S40 both has the good and bad transmission. Simply put, S20 means 1992 to 1995. S40 means 1996 up to 2000. So when people say that S40 mas maganda yung gearing and whatnot, it's a load of bull crap, you know? So reference this when you need to know more about your own transmissions. And by the way, B000 and A000 transmission cases, the gears are not interchangeable. So I don't know where this balasa bullcrap came from. If it's balasa because you're gonna buy M Factory, that's not balasa. So I hope this video gave you more answers than questions. You know, just to iwas budol. Budol is scamming. So, you know, let's just be smart about all of this.